I couldn't. It was very difficult, very, very difficult. Occasionally, depending how anybody spoke and so on. But as such, my nerves gave way.
Yeah, it is very stressful.
It's very stressful. It was. I was even trying for the BBC to do simultaneous, news reading, but it was so stressful I couldn't do that. No.
But were you doing it?
But I tried. I did a special, the stereo,
Stenography.
no,
Stenotyping.
stenotyping, a special thing to do. To be a reporter, to be not a reporter, to be interpreter, absolute interpreter at conferences and so forth. But it was very stressful for me, and I gave that up as such. But I still worked in this field, yes.
So, Polish, Russian, Ukrainian, German, English, Hebrew.
No, Hebrew.
French.
Hebrew was. I can't say I could have a conversation of sorts. I could exchange with you. Today I can do more than I did then, but I didn't know. But I had Spanish and French and German and
Yiddish or no?
No.
Because
Yiddish.
your grandparents on your mother's side,
yes,
they
but
spoke
I
Yiddish,
don't.
but you
we
didn't.
did not. No, we did not have Yiddish. No, I knew no Yiddish at all. I didn't know about Kazimierz before the war in Krakow. I was never there. I never knew.
That's absolutely fascinating.
Why?
That you were growing up in
But
Krakow.
I
know you were in a assimilated family.
We lived in the center.
Yes.
We lived in the old city, in the center of town. I had no need to come to Kazimierz. My mother went on a Friday night to listen to Rabbi Oziarstone, to Dr. Tom, to his oratory, because he was an orator. So people went, even non-Jews, went to listen to him. He was a senator in the Polish government, and he was this amazing rabbi, and at the temple, at the synagogue temple, at the main synagogue, and people went for his oration. And my mother occasionally went on Fridays just for that. I never even knew where. That's why I couldn't imagine what sort of a festival of Jewish culture. And today when I come and I see this Kazimierz, and that's like Montmartre there now.
Yes.
It's painful. I find it very painful. I don't find it fun and lovely and wonderful. No.
Well,
I find it like dancing on
graves.
On the graves. Yes.
But it also is the fact that it's become a tourist product, and it's
unfortunately, yes.
There are some advantages of it, but there is also plenty of
the advantages are that those are the advantages. They make money on it. That's all. Because people who lost people there.
I know. I remember myself. I think I told you about it when I started going to Krakow. I was in high school, so I started high school in 1989. So we are talking early 90s, and that's before. That's right after the system has changed. It's before this whole interest in Jewish culture starts slowly building up. And I remember walking around Kazimierz, which looked nothing like Kazimierz nowadays.
Yes. No, looked terrible. And this is what it is. I mean, when we were coming year after year, when was Pisa there, and for the festival, and we were on the first floor in the area. There was not in the area, in the next one to it, another one. I forget. Not in the area, in the one in the middle. On the first floor, we were always invited by the Krakowians. It was such a fantastic table, Wajda and his Zaklatowicz, and on two occasions, Miłosz and his wife. It was fantastic. And when I stood in the window and I looked at the people dancing and this enormously loud music playing, and enjoying. And opposite me,
It's the cemetery.
the house empty and the windows black and so. I could never enjoy that. Never.
But in
It
a
was
way,
painful for me.
it is like you said last time, that you had to get over those wartime experiences, losing so many of your family, and try to lead a normal life,
of
because
course.
what else can
Well,
you do?
that's where we were. We were living a so-called normal life. But when I saw that, it's not that I stood there crying, because I didn't. I was probably laughing and maybe even singing along or something, but it was painful inside for me to see that. That where are these people dancing? They're dancing on graves.
Yeah.
Like a cemetery.
But then again, Poland is one big cemetery, you know, when you think of history of Jews, but not only of history of
Yeah,
Jews.
sure, of course,
It's
yes, I know.
everywhere you look.
Absolutely, yes, it is so. But Kazimierz to me, it's specific because it's Krakow to begin with, and it does that to me. That if I come now, I probably go and sit in the Rubinstein, very beautiful and lovely, and the hotels are beautiful and the restaurants are nice. And when I go to Klesmerhuis, I sit in the garden and they serve me lovely food. It's all beautiful and lovely, but at the same time, I don't sit there thinking, "Oh my God, where am I?" No. But at the same time, it is painful. This is something you carry with you.
Yes.
At least I do. I don't know.
But
and I will, as I said, Kazimierz as such, that shouldn't mean anything to me because I never knew it. I never had anybody there. I never had anyone there that I knew of. No one. But the other day I was looking for the Amtsinsan and Schindler's List. And you always see something you've missed because, you know, it's moving, so you miss something here and there. And I think, and look at it. And today we go and we dance there, and it's an immediate thought. It's immediate. And I think I never had, what should I say? I was never the one to extol Schindler. As a man, as a person, as a human being. Oh yes, of course, what he did was, on one side, was amazing, of course. But as a human being, because he was a little zero, what he did was, when I now see the film again and again, I'm changing my mind about him. Because it doesn't matter what he was, that he was a gambler and that he was a womanizer and that he was, it doesn't matter. That man had enormous courage, he was brave to an extent that, and what he did was something unbelievable. Unbelievable, to save over 1,000 people the way he did it.
Yes.
Tell me who would have dared to go to Auschwitz and take out 300 women almost from under a gas. And they gave them to him.
But then again, you've met during the war quite a few people, maybe on a smaller
Yes,
scale.
but this was the sort of Dr. Schoenfeld.
Max
He
Kohl.
would do Max Kohl. Yes, Max Kohl tried. He was in the same vein that he would bribe. This one bribe, this one bribe, this one bribe, this one bribe. But he would never have had that courage. I mean, he didn't have that charisma. That man had enormous, Mr. Cole was small, tiny, insignificant to look at. He did marvels for his people so long as he could, but he could do no more. This one could and did. So these are the sort of mavericks of this world. And today, when I see the film again, I am full of admiration for this man. And I understand now how those who survived adored him. Those people, those women, adored him like we adore Dr. Shelford. It's maybe a slight so-so comparison, but it is on the way, on the same, because he also was indestructible. He wanted to do it, and it, it was what shall I say? What's the saying? Means
Means
no. There is a saying that is absolutely it. Że celu święca środki. Ways of means.
Means to an end.
Means
No,
to an,
means
yeah,
to an
means
end.
to an end. This is it. He had that. That was the end, and the means.
didn't matter.
This way, that so long as it didn't go, nie po trupach. So there was no way that would stop him. That was the same, and Schindler was like that. That was his means to an end. When he stands there and dictates the list, the names, everything in his memory, from his memory, 1,000 names, like my Dr. Shelford.
Apropos your Dr. Shenfeld, did you ever find out how your name made it to the list on the first transport?
I told you, through Dr. Kahana,
Aha.
because they worked together.
So he put
He
your name on
worked
the
from
list without...
here, and the others worked from Poland.
But he didn't tell you or your mother anything?
He informed us.
Okay.
He informed us that suddenly there was such a possibility, and he put my name down immediately.
So you went to uni here in London, and then in 1952 you go to Israel,
Yes,
where you stay longer than you planned, and you meet your first husband.
yes. Yes, indeed. I went for 6 weeks and I stayed
6 months, I
3
think?
months. No.
3 months?
I went at the end of July, I believe, beginning of July, and I stayed until December.
So 6 months? Or
No, not
5
quite.
months?
4 months, something like that.
September, October,
Or
November,
September,
December.
October, November, December, 5 months, yeah. Yes, but it was quite wonderful. It was marvelous. My mother went before. She went on her own beforehand because she had a number of friends from her young days from Lvov who emigrated to Palestine way before the war. They were all Zionists,
Yes.
and they went. And my mother stayed behind because my father couldn't go,
Why couldn't your father go?
because he did himself damage in the knee, and he, in his opinion, that he was not, in those days people were going in order to work with the soil and everything. He said that he couldn't. You can see here he was with a stick on the photograph, because occasionally that knee gave way. So he thought this is not material for physical jobs. So that's why he didn't go. Wish he would have. But they always intended to go. They always intended. That's why I was in a Hebrew kindergarten. That's why I spoke Hebrew as a little girl and so on. But it just didn't, unfortunately not. He had a brother there. His brother went, an older brother went, at the age of 16. Yes.
So do you have family there in Israel now? Like on your father's brother's side?
Somewhere around there, yes, but well, I met them. When I was there, yes, I met them and I saw them and I stayed with them. But afterwards, when he died and his wife died and the youngsters like that, so they were here. We invited them. They came over, but then afterwards somehow it's just I was in a different world here,
Yeah.
quite a different world. So yeah,
Okay, I think.
it was very interesting in Israel at the time. Very interesting.
Tell me.
Well, from point of view, it was what they called the Tzena time. Tzena, meaning that everything was rationed, and it was after the wars, and so people were rationed, and it was, but the life was booming, like it is now. These people live, not like here. It doesn't matter. They sit on a bomb, but they live. It's been like this all the time, and of course at that time you could have gone through the entire Israel speaking Polish. You spoke Polish, you didn't need any Hebrew. My mother, however, when my mother came, she only spoke Hebrew. She spoke beautifully. She spoke a language which was a classical language almost. So people always admired what a beautiful language, how it is. But you could have spoken, you could have gone through the whole country, you could have asked anybody in Polish, they would have directed you and so on.
So you didn't think of staying when you
No,
went
I
there?
would have, both of us would have loved to. We would have loved to. But, come on, you're falling down or something. Oh, please have something.
I really can't eat. It's
can't.
so hot.
I know, yes.
Yeah, it's just.
One can't eat. So have some grapes.
I
Grapes
will.
are.
Thank you.
Yes, but my mother, who was such a Zionist, such an ardent Zionist, who worked for Ort all life long and did so much, she couldn't because of the climate.
Oh. Okay.
She could not take the climate. And many people couldn't. And you can't imagine what the women, some young women, what they looked like in that climate. How terribly their faces were full of wrinkles, from the climate. And she would have loved to. Yeah, we would have loved to. And so of course I wouldn't stay. My mother. She couldn't, so we went once, twice a year, at least. Every year, for 25 years. We went to Israel.
So then you come back. I'm kind of going forward. It's not gonna.
No, of course I came back. I didn't want to get married. I didn't go there to get married. Listen, I never really wanted to get married. Never. I was always, such a free bird. I like my freedom too much in some ways. And he was absolutely crazy. Oh my God. I said, I'm sorry, I can't. And he was an officer in the Israeli army, and occasionally we had a date to meet or something, and his adjutant would come on a bike and tell me terribly sorry, he's sending a message, he won't be able to come. He doesn't know exactly when he'll be able to come again, but he will let me know. And this is how you have to live there, He was sent here, he was sent there. I never knew whether he was alive or dead. This was not for me. I couldn't. I'm not.
Especially after going through war.
In a country like this, and he was always that he always wanted to be sent on special missions. Maybe they wouldn't have, but he wanted. So they sent. I didn't know. I was waiting, not waiting, and not only that I was waiting because I could do other things, but I was worried.
Yeah.
I was worrying. I mean, So I said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. This is not for me. I can't spend my life sitting here worrying about you. And it was very difficult. He wouldn't let me go. It was awful. But I left, and then he said, in this case, he's going to come over here and study here. And that's how he was.
And then you went to the States together? No.
He went first, and I came afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We studied here, and when I said, I'm not leaving my mother and everything like this, and going to again something unknown. Enough of that for me. But you want to go to the States, I'm happy to be here. I don't need to go away, but if you want to, okay. So go and see and let me know.
Mm-hmm.
The following day I had a telegram. The following day. That he has a job. Western Electric, American Tel, $85 a week, which was very nice then.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, and here he couldn't get anything because he studied electronics.
Mm-hmm.
And to get into that line here, they didn't want a foreigner. So he said, this is no good, I'm not staying here. I'm going to go to America and see. The following morning he had a job. And he stayed within Western Electric, American Tel. He was building stations, he was building, television stations, God knows what, until he was pensioned off.
Wow.
In one firm. And had so many letters after his name.
Mm-hmm.
Because they kept sending him to Princeton, to this, to Yale, once a year. He went to the things were progressing and he had to.
Mm-hmm. So then, when did he manage to persuade you to join him?
Hmm?
How did he manage to persuade you to join him then?
He didn't have to persuade me. It was, I told him, when you have a job, I come.
Okay.
But I'm not going into an unknown.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it was. So then he had this and he got a studio apartment in a wonderful
Where?
huge, in New York. We were in New York. And they were sort of blocks like this, like where I'm living now, belonged to a Krakowian. And that Krakowian, whenever an apartment emptied, anybody from Krakow had a preference.
Mm-hmm.
So we immediately had a beautiful studio, wonderful people of our age, all Polish, Jewish, non-Jewish. We had a fabulous time. We didn't have to put on a coat in the winter in order to have one party after another. Yes, fabulous. Because we were all about the same age.
Mm-hmm.
And any one of our friends who lived God knows where and an apartment emptied immediately. Yes.
Did you work there at all, or?
Oh yes, I worked for a while. Of course, I was recommended from my office here in London. This was a huge, enormous firm. I mean, I was in Broad Street, in Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was pregnant, I found it very difficult to go on the subway, so-called, because it was impossible in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Pushing, it's like what you see on Japanese trains,
Oh yeah.
Absolutely like that. So I would always wait for the next one. The next one, by the time the next one came, they were also in Vilnius.
Yeah.
And I carried in such a way that it was a terrible pressure on my nerve somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And the pain was excruciating. Now standing in one fine day, I said, I have to give a notice. So they said, what do you mean a notice? What do you call a notice? I said, well, I shall be able to continue like this, maybe afterwards, but not before. So they laughed. They said, in America you don't do it. You just want to work, you don't come, and finished. I couldn't understand that. Could not. What do you mean you don't? No. You just call up and say you're not coming to work anymore and finished.